Boom, baby. We are live. Welcome to the Tokyo Crypto Show, episode 107. I am here with Charlie from cultivatecrypto.com. And this may be the last show of the year for us. Together on Tokyo Crypto Show. Still, I'm up in the air. I'm flying to America tomorrow for the Pinnacle event, the meetup where we're gonna have the actual groups meet up, Hot Dude Con. And sorry to break it to you guys, but San Diego is sold out, so you cannot meet Dollar Cost Crypto and me anymore. Your opportunity to meet two seven-figure earners in cryptocurrency for the low price of $100. Your opportunity has left the building. I'm sorry, but I told you this event would sell out. You guys think I was joking? Some marketing tricks or whatever. San Diego is sold out. I will be there. Miguel will be there. The other half of the crypto mindset course. Paul from Apex Mindset will be there. Former welterweight championship contender in the UFC. John Fitch will be there. Paul from Apex Mindset will be there. Afi Kingdom will be there. Red Pill Thor will be there. And many other members in the Moon Gang, the Hot Dude Army, and the Hot Dude Army Moon Gang Alliance. So, sorry you took so long, but I told you it'd sell out. If you want to join us, Dallas is going down. That's December 21st, and Miami, December 23rd. Go to hotdudecon.com. Dallas has about 12 tickets left. And then Miami's very close to Christmas. There's a lot of tickets left for Miami. In Dallas is the Inner Game Summit. So we're going to be talking about inner game, getting your mental strategies correct, removing traumas, removing all of the bad things that happen to you. If you used to be addicted to drugs or have low self-esteem or struggle with identity, anxiety, self-hate, all that stuff, we're going to teach you how to clear that stuff out of yourself forever so you can live a happy, healthy, psychologically balanced life, which will help you in your day-to-day, including trading cryptocurrencies, making effective strategies. The less trash you have up here, the more out here will be easy for you to operate in. And in Miami, myself, Troy Francis, Sterling Cooper, adult superstar, has just confirmed he will be at Hot Dude Con Miami. Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit show will also be in Hot Dude Con Miami. And I will be on the Fresh and Fit podcast live in the studio on December 27th. I'll be making my triumphant return, second time this year. Did it in January and now closing out the year in December. You're going to see a big difference in me. A lot of you guys watching have already seen a difference in me. But wait, if you think this is the beginning, you ain't seen nothing yet. So go to hotdudecon.com. Link is in the chat. Link is in the description box. Book your ticket today. There are only 12 tickets left for the Dallas event, which is happening on December 21st. And I assure you the Dallas event will sell out. Charlie, it's too bad you can't make it.
Yeah, it's all good. We're going to be doing the crypto mindset course launch, just to remind everybody, from January 10th to the 16th. So anybody who wants to get on the waiting list there, head over to cryptomindsetcourse.com as well. Have it in my name here as well as in the chat there. I think we had about 110, 120 people since last Friday sign up, brand new, who've never taken the course. So it's going to be a really good one as well. So we're going to, I think there's, different questions in the chats and in the conversations in the last few streams. And some people were asking, are we going to do new coin picks, stuff like that? Yeah, every single quarter, the cryptocurrency market changes drastically. So there's going to be a lot of new opportunities come January. So it's going to be a good one.
All I'm going to say is if you think you're going to go into 2022 without me and Charlie and Miguel by your side, good luck, because that's the only force that's going to help you.
Yeah. And it's like, a lot of people had a very good year in 2021. And it's like, yep, great. Come back, keep doing this and keep getting better, because I think 2022 is the year of, it's just going to be a fantastic year. It's a year to, for everybody who wants to take advantage of these opportunities in the market, to work really hard. It's $997 one-time fee for the course. But yeah, if you want to put in the work in 2022, like you said, with the inner game stuff, with what you're doing with the masculine empowerment network, with Hot Dude Con, And then what we do here on the money side with Cultivate Crypto and the Crypto Mindset course, you can try to improve a lot of different aspects of your life, figure out what your priorities are for 2022 now, because like the last 1.5 months, I've basically kept accidentally saying, this year and referring to 2022 because my mind is already in 2022 just because, trying to see what's around the corner in the crypto markets is always, a nice Rubik's Cube puzzle to try to solve.
Yep. Cal Marlin, $5 super chat. Guys, should I sell my SNX? Charlie?
I already told people, probably it's good to abandon that Celsius. Basically any ERC20 token, which due to, like Uniswap as well, like high fees basically had those tokens, hold back, right? From the summer when everything else since the summer has been doing really, really well. So right now the main play is in crypto, basically the layer ones or the ecosystem driven coins. So Hex is actually pumping right now. It was down to, I think, 12 cents. Now it's back up to about 21 cents. That's in preparation for what's happening with Pulse Chain. We talked about that on my show a little bit yesterday. So
I see all the Hex retards coming out of their fucking their autistic slumber.
Hey man, when the prices are down, they're quiet as hell. But when the prices are up, they get to it.
Oh my god, I gotta say, man, I don't know. I was checking out some Richard Hart's YouTube videos today, and I was like, this is just marketing for morons. Like I said, I have my reservations about Hex. I still think Richard Hart's a scumbag. But that being said, I do think that there is an opportunity to make money with his shit. But when you make a deal with the devil, don't be, shocked if you get burned.
It's the same thing with all cryptocurrency, right? You got to de-risk, right?
Yeah.
So once you get your first 3x, right? Which, I mean, people have gotten time and time again with Hex. I mean, he does, if you look at, Celsius versus Hex, just in terms of how the leader takes care of the community, takes care of the token, takes care of the price appreciation. Hex hands down has done that throughout this entire bull market. It has not, basically let people down on that end of the spectrum yet. So it's like, okay, let's say you bought it let's say you have no faith in the project whatsoever, right? And you're just like, I'm here for the tech. Obviously, we're here for the money, right? And so you bought the token, let's say at 10 cents and during the Q3 course, and it ran up to 50 cents. Well, you had a chance to take your profit times 2. That way you've doubled your money. You got that back out. You could put it back into Ethereum or something simple. And then whatever else you had left in there is your kind of, your moon bag, your YOLO bag for seeing where this project can go in this bull market. So I do think, there's a mixture between, however you feel about a cryptocurrency, don't let your feelings get in the way because, Bitcoin back in the early 2010s was very similar. It's just still magic internet money. Wasn't, people said it had no intrinsic value. It's just code, all this stuff. And Satoshi Nakamoto has not come back and rugged the market yet. So, by selling all his coins or whatever. So,
yeah, I guess, I don't know, man. I've got my built-in, I just, when I can't.
No, I understand where you're coming from. Totally. But it's one of these things where, hey man, I'm totally de-risked on my Hex position. So it's all free money at this point. But
yeah. So, that being said, I think that we have to be objective in a positive manner and also, subjective to an extent.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you have to, call it like you see it. And, I always respect people who, they don't hold back what their honest thoughts are, because I do think there's a lot of people within different crypto communities that don't say some of their honest thoughts just because they don't want to, FUD the token, which I think is the wrong way to look at it.
Cal's also coming back. What about Aave?
Aave, basically anything with Ethereum that requires gas fees to be low, right? Which Aave is a lending market.
There's a follow-up. Thank you, Cal. You sent $15 in like 15 minutes. Appreciate you, dog.
Yeah, so it's not done forever for them, not by any means. I mean, Aave, if you look at it in the bear market, man, Aave was like nothing, right? And it came back from the goddamn grave. So basically what it requires is Ethereum fees to be low because it is a lending market. I would say synthetics might be a little bit early for what it's trying to do, which is a derivatives market in crypto. which I think will probably be more likely to have many of those in the next bull market. But for Aave as a lending market, we have plenty of those, just it's a purely decentralized one within the Ethereum network. So with Aave, you need low gas fees. When the gas fees are high, nobody's going to use it. They're going to go over to other layer one blockchains or other ecosystem blockchains like Solana, Phantom. Yep, all these
Rest in
different
peace,
ones.
Solana. I don't know. Phantom's got my vote of
Solana,
confidence.
dude, have you looked at the Solana to Bitcoin chart? Solana
No, I know that, but I mean,
outperformed the market by way more than anything else.
I understand that, but the network crashing is my big red flag.
Oh yeah, I mean it's totally centralized, but it's one of these. If you try to, go on Phantom when everything was crashing during that flash crash, what was that, like a week and a half ago? Nothing on Phantom was working either. So,
really, I wasn't paying. I didn't pay attention at that time.
All I know today, it was the same with Ethereum though. It's like whenever things go bad, because Phantom's a different type of centralization. It's not centralized. It's more centralized by a few retail players, but like we're saying, we have to be, and so is Ethereum to some extent as well compared to Bitcoin. So it is good to be honest with what are the problems and what are the good things about each of these networks, because they all have issues, right? They all have tons of issues. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's a brand new technology that's coming out and trying to trade money at the speed of light. So, there's going to be plenty of issues along the way. But
yeah, I am a little biased. I'm slightly okay. You want to answer this one quick?
Yeah, the last part of the answer for Aave in particular, right? So it requires low Ethereum fees. So that's going over to the other blockchains, Pulse Chain being one of them as well, that will have low fees and incentivize Ethereum projects to come on to it. But basically, I have a sneaking suspicion, and we're going to talk about this in more detail during the Crypto Mindset course in Q1. What would need to happen for Ethereum fees to be low again? And there is a technology out there. This is the biggest hint that I'll give towards it for anybody who wants to go dig on this. There is a technology out there that they could implement within 2022 that basically would reduce Ethereum's gas fees by 50x lower than they are now. So that would bring Ethereum fees back below $5. Boom. All of a sudden, people are using Aave. They're using all these things on Ethereum again. But in the meantime, all these cross-chain platforms, Solana being one of them, Polkadot being one of them, all these ones that are building bridges between blockchains, also having lower fees, those blockchains will be the ones until that time to go off. And so Ethereum, if we're going to be pessimistic about Ethereum in general or Ethereum's network, then I would say that's going to, like, the worst case scenario, it's in the bear market where they basically implement that technology to alleviate fees. So I don't see that happening with when the merge happens for Ethereum 2.0 in like the spring. I would say it'd be like late spring, early summer when Ethereum has a chance to, basically come back. But Ethereum itself, in terms of a token, is going to price appreciate regardless, just because of it's getting closer to deflationary than it's been before. So I think its inflation rate has gone down from 4.6 to 2.4% or something like that, which is one of the reasons why it's holding up so well, despite the dip here in Bitcoin.
Polar Bear Toenail says, "Come on, MLDL. Solana didn't crash either time. It just slowed down due to DDoS attack. It wasn't hacked either, like some have said. Pure FUD from those who missed out." No, I'm not. Listen, look, all I'm saying is that the network was vulnerable to outside forces. And for me as an investor, I see that as a red flag. By no means.
There's one data center in Germany that has a control of 15% of the nodes on Solana's network. That's not good. They fixed that. They're starting to fix that. But it's a VC chain, venture capitalist chain, where it's made to move really, really fast. And so it doesn't have to be, but it started out more centralized than other blockchains. But if you go and look at how they're working with their tokenomics, I mean, it's the same with Ethereum. Ethereum's not perfect on its gas fees, but it's been made to pump, and Solana as well is also designed to pump in terms of price. So that's what we do talk about in the Crypto Mindset course. We let you guys know what's the positives about these blockchains, what's the negatives, and which ones are more likely to affect short-term price action and long-term price action. Because where I would be concerned with stuff that's more centralized, like Phantom and Solana, would be in the bear market, right? So if they get attacked when the prices are low, when people aren't paying attention to the market and things like that, if enough confidence is lost during that period of time, and it's only been in one bull market cycle so far. It hasn't gone through a true bear market. That's when it has vulnerability, in my opinion, because if you lose confidence in the project at that point, then it might not come back in the early stages of the bull market. So when the bull market's going, people tend to, brush these things in terms of the fundamental issues with some of these blockchains under the rug and just be like, price appreciation's here, so whatever. So it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But hey, we're here for the tech, right?
Yeah, no, like I said, I think I just think, like I said, that wasn't supposed to be such a large statement, but
no, I think it's important to, like, once we talk about these things, to, like, I think just kind of, we're publicly talking here, so just kind of inform the audience, what is the positives and what is the negatives in enough detail so they can make a decision for themselves too.
I'm still a huge fan of the Phantom network, just based purely upon the speed, number one. But I think number one really should be the fees are LOL so cheap.
Yeah, Solana's is actually quite a bit cheaper than Phantoms.
Really?
Yep. Like Solana's, I think, is like, I think they're both relatively pennies right now, but I forgot which one it was. I think it was maybe AVAX was the one that has low fees right now. But if its network grew much bigger, I think Solana and Phantom are way better than when you look at AVAX. If AVAX starts to get like a decent amount of adoption, its fees all of a sudden go up really quickly. So whereas I think Phantom and Solana's fees will stay quite low for a very long time.
I'm just a huge fan of Spell Token. So I've just been, I don't really split my attention too much when it comes to things. So I'm focusing a lot on just what's on Spooky Swap. Big fan of Phantom. I am farming the fuck out of Boo. If Boo does anything, I'm gonna be fucking rich.
Yeah. Well, it's one of these ones, whenever it has its pump, right? Take the profits and sell it for more Phantom, and then that's a way to increase. Like with all these layer ones, with all these ecosystem tokens, this bull market, the name of the game is to increase as much of those in your wallet as possible, because the lower cap coins on those networks will move very well. But you can farm those for the main tokens, because we've just proven in this bull market that those are the main ones that have price appreciated the most.
Oh yeah. That being said, we got a lot of good stuff that we're going to talk about in today's episode. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but when you guys were sleeping, somebody pumped Spell like 20%. I was watching. I got back into Spell. Took my Rolex money, just threw it in there. Daddy needs a brand new bag. Second Rolex I got liquidated this year to buy crypto. One by force, one by choice. For you guys that don't know, I had a house party, and then somebody stole my Rolex out of my house. Luckily in Japan, the insurance here covered my full fee of my Rolex, which Charlie was actually there when I bought the Rolex. We bought it in Nagasaki in the Rolex authorized dealer up there. And then what ended up happening was, in Japan, when somebody steals something from you and it's covered by your insurance, they give you 100% of the value that was stolen plus a 10% condolences fee. So once again, the universe has conspired to work with me. And then this week I got the fucking money. So I got 110% value worth of the Rolex. And then the market crashed as well. So I was able to get in low. And once again, the haters, they circled the bandwagon. They tried to take down the supreme leader. And once again, they did what losers do, and that's lose. So pretty excited about that. I'm going to have a pretty sweet Rolex. I would say, well, we're going to talk about what I think is going to happen with Spell. That's one of my end of year tokens that I don't want to talk about. Something really important got approved. Actually, I got to send that article to my main computer here right now. I just thought about that. What do you want to do, Charlie? You want to look at some charts?
Yeah, we can do a bunch of different stuff. Basically, I think one of the things, just looking at like the macros of what's happening in the world going into 2022 is important. I think with what's happening with the Federal Reserve. Today, there's actually an event.
Tapering meeting, yeah?
Yep. Which I think is very, very important to understand how it's going to affect short and long term in the crypto space. But overall, like basically almost every situation is good for Bitcoin. So long term, I mean, that's not really going to be an issue at all. Yeah, just generally speaking, we can talk about that going into 2022, but I don't know what you want to tackle first. If you want to tackle short-term projections over the next 2 weeks, because there's not too much time until the end of the year, and then we can get into the longer-term stuff from there.
So this will cover it. So this is like my last show in the studio with Charlie here. I might do some while I'm on the road, but I'm going to America, and I have to go meet, like, literally I'm going to go meet like more than 100 people face to face. So I'm going to be just in a perpetual state of exhaustedness. I don't know if I'll be able to make some shows, but I'm meeting people in real life, so I'll be doing some now on the ground marketing. But in today's episode, we really just want to talk about what we think is going to happen by the end of the year. End of the year is happening in approximately 15 days. So we basically got 2 weeks till the end of the year's open. Now, I'll just say right here, I don't think Bitcoin's hitting 100K this year. I think
surprise.
Yeah. But
I mean, at this point, right?
Well, yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think so in even in November. But I think we're gonna have a little bit of a rally up, but I don't think we're gonna have like a big bang. I think we've seen what we've seen. However, Charlie, why don't we do this? Let's review Bitcoin chart. Let's review Ethereum chart. Let's take a look at Hex, because something's going on with Hex. And then I'm going to throw my version of Hex in there, and that's Spell. So let's look at
Pump
Bitcoin,
your bags.
Ethereum,
Let me pull
Hex, Spell.
Yeah, let me pull up the Hex chart, and then let me pull up the Spell chart, because those ones are on different ones as well.
Chris Finch says, not a brave call, MLD. Nobody's trying to be brave over here. I already am brave. I'm just keeping it like, if you can read there, Chris, you can see the title says end of year predictions. So I'm giving my end of year prediction. I'm not trying to make some like grandiose statement. A lot of the money. Have you been covering this on your show, Charlie? On the glass nodes, like a lot of the money is coming off exchanges. Have you been watching that?
The supply shock. Yeah. That's what I mean. That's one of the main things that we've been talking about with Plan C, as well as just generally speaking. We do almost every show around the time that we do the price talk with Bitcoin. We also do the glass node data, because the on-chain data is right now, it's kind of like a little bit of a renaissance for on-chain data in terms of now it's a lot more accessible for a lot of people. So it's just going to get more and more obvious in the narrative here that supply on both Ethereum and Bitcoin is massively going down. The whales are accumulating, especially with Ethereum, billions and billions of dollars of it. Bitcoin just continues to go down in supply on the exchanges, and that's usually a precursor, to more pump. So, when we talk about what's happening with the Fed can do whatever they want with macroeconomics, and that will have some short-term effects on crypto, of course, because crypto is not impervious to what's happening in the rest of the world. But long-term, I mean, Bitcoin is it's not going to be a train that's stopping. So I got the charts up here for both.
You are.
Let me pull that out.
There we go. Let's go full screen.
Alrighty. Is it there?
We are live, full screen. Me and you off the screen. It's full screen.
Gotcha. All right. So what we got here with Bitcoin, there's a lot of lines, a lot of bells and whistles, right? So if I just, take off some of this and just let's keep on for right now, what's most important. I will just go like this, and we'll take some of these lines away for right now and make it simple, right? So looking at what's happening here, these are basically different price levels that are important to pay attention to, along with what's happening with the 60-day cycles. So what we got here is we got Bitcoin coming down right from the top of its 60-day cycle on day 50. So we did have a bullish cycle coming here from end of September when we were doing the crypto mindset course for Q4 of this year, right? And then we had a very nice run up here on Bitcoin into day 50 of the cycle. So it did have a bullish 60-day cycle. And then we had obviously this price decline. And then when it did break below the previous cycle high, we had that flush out event on the leverage exchanges, basically. So there was too much leverage in the system for Bitcoin, meaning that there were people, basically borrowing money to have more exposure to Bitcoin so that when price does move, they make, 2x more, 3x more, or if they're crazy, they do 100x, right? So, but obviously, exchanges like to flush those people out of the market. So we had that here at the beginning of the last 60-day cycle. The beginning of the downtrend in the end of the last 60-day cycle, right? We had that flush out here, and then we just kind of came down slowly to the end of the cycle. Whereas here we were coming down slowly, and then we had this flush out. So that's why the price last week came down so dramatically. Also, I think if you're looking at it from a macroeconomic perspective, people were kind of taking what Jerome Powell said was happening with the Fed and taking a little bit of money off the table here from a risk-on asset. Also, I would say that mainly the people who bought up in this section here, right, above $58,000 Bitcoin up to $69,000 Bitcoin, these new buyers who are short-term, right, because the on-chain data, what it's telling us is that with the supply shock, right, less Bitcoins on the exchanges, so that's going to definitely hold up the price. But then also the long-term holders, people who've been holding 5 months or more, those people are not selling during this downtrend for the most part. And so most of the people selling during this downtrend, along with the leverage flush out, have been the short-term traders, right? The people who maybe just got into Bitcoin at the top, or people who are trading quite frequently in this market. So that's what the market has been flushing out. I do think we have a chance at a slightly reduced price here. Of course, we can talk about what are worst case scenarios, best case scenarios, and what are the probabilities of each of those, because this is a game of probabilities, not certainties. But looking at what needs to happen for Bitcoin, right? It's currently in this downtrend. So all it really needs to do, which it's had a struggle to do since that big leverage flush out, was it needs to basically get above this descending trend line, which is actually quite right now, right in line with that 20-day moving average right in the middle. And then also getting back above this 53,000 mark, which was the previous cycle high, would be very helpful as well. So if Bitcoin can do those two things by the end of the year, which I think it has a very good chance of doing, then basically everything is kind of hunky-dory in Bitcoin land. Right now, Bitcoin is severely undervalued compared to different ways to value what's the fair value of Bitcoin. I would say at least $60,000 at the current moment. So you actually have quite a deep discount on Bitcoin right now. And so a lot of the whales understand that. And so they've been buying up and taking supply off exchanges like you mentioned there. So if we put those lines back on, I think it will require me to just kind of go back here for a bit, those other lines that I was talking about. So this line here is the assuming that we do not go below the current low in the 60-day cycle, which happened on day 74 of an extended cycle. Then January 3rd is the midpoint of this current 60-day cycle. So if we do see like a little bit of a dip below the 200-day moving average here, down to like 44,000, and then from there, a recovery back up by January 3rd above that $53,000 mark, then I think going into the new year, we have Bitcoin basically in the 50K, maybe low 60K range, just kind of sitting steady Eddie, right?
Oh God, dude, that just seems like dreadfully optimistic for me.
No,
Like,
I mean, it's one of these things where that's the sentiment in the market, right? When you flush out the market, you
right,
just got to look at the data, right? And the data on chain basically says the only people left to sell right now are people who want to sell at a loss, and that's mostly the people who bought up here. So the long-term whales, they're not selling. If the ones who did sell, right, the people who've been long-term, they sold up here, and that's before that last major crash, right? And during this move up, they're basically sitting pat. So it's all these short-term people who bought in the short-term area up here, a lot of the weak paper hands. So it just requires once we flush those people out of the market, which it looks like we pretty much have. I think with the meeting that's going on with the Fed today, that could scare people short-term, right? Oh my God, they're not going to be printing as much money as they used to. Right. And also they're going to potentially raise interest rates in 2022. That might freak a few people out and could bring us down to like 44K, I think. Where it gets bad for Bitcoin, so if we want to look at it the pessimistic side, right? Basically, it has to lose the 200-day moving average here, I would say, for at least a week, right? About 5 days to 7 days. Then Bitcoin would have to go below 42,000. And then if it did go below 40,000, that's where I would say, okay, you're going to get Bitcoin going into the new year in a significant downtrend, and you're going to get it going into early February, probably down in the low 30K range. And that's where a lot of the support has been throughout this bull market. Here, that's been a very difficult area to break through. So personally, I don't think it goes below 30K. Even I think if it did go below 40, it'd have a significantly hard time once it gets down here to about 37, 36K. So that would be where a lot of buying pressure happens. Also, you got to understand what happens in the new year is basically these hedge funds, these institutional investors, which have been driving a lot of this Bitcoin bull market, because retail has only been here in spurts, and we can see that with the altcoins. But the institutional players, regardless, come early January, they're going to be buying, because in December, they have no incentive to be buying, because they want to make sure that the returns that they made for their customers this year are good, right? And they didn't want to mess up with the profits they made. So they just
it's end of year. They're thinking like businessmen. Like, no offense to the audience, but like, these guys they're worrying about paying taxes. You guys most likely are getting money back on your tax returns if you're just getting going here. And so, we have a lot of that's why I think we're not going to see any more. I don't think we're going to see any parabolic movement upwards.
No, not parabolic. I mean, going up to $53,000, $55,000, even $58,000 is not parabolic. Parabolic would be going up to, I would say, $80,000 or $9.
If we go up to $58,000, I will only make Miguel pay me $5,000 for the bet.
Oh, that's lovely. I'd be interested in making $1,000 bet with you.
Oh yeah, what's on that?
So going into the beginning of the crypto mindset course registration, which is January 10th. So the significant downside, right, would be down in the 30Ks, right? Which I think there's about a 40% chance of that happening. It's not nothing for sure, and it's very possible. So if you want to take the bet that Bitcoin goes below, let's say 39,000 into January 10th, I'll give you $1,000 if that happens. If Bitcoin,
that's a dumb bet too.
If Bitcoin then recovers 50,000 by January 10th, then I get $1,000 from you.
That's easy. That's easy. That's a bad bet for me. I'm not that dumb.
Okay, we can make it $58,000 would be a little bit more of a stretch, but no, I'm just, it's just for fun. So
no. I like I said, I would be more willing to bet you that Bitcoin does not hit 58,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, I would say I would say that's probably a pretty good chance that could be the case.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we all just need to be a little realistic here at this point. Like, I know everybody here has been like mainlining hopium all year. And
well, I mean, look at what's happened. I mean,
I know. It's been
where were we at this point last year, right? This is December. What day is today? December 15th. Where was Bitcoin last year on December 15th? Right.
Aqua's up to you. Aqua's on to you. You see the chat? Aqua, he says Charlie tried to pull a rug on him with the bet.
Hey man,
not on my watch.
Money, you gotta put money where your mouth.
Maybe if I was a Hexagon, I would have bought into that, but I don't know.
Yeah, but the price here of Bitcoin last year at this exact date was $19,000. If you look at the layer ones of stuff like an ecosystem-driven tokens like Luna, Phantom, Solana. I mean, Solana was like $2. Now it's $200, right? Or about 150 right now, but it was up to 250, right? If you look at Phantom, it was, pennies. And now it's multiple dollars. If you look at Hex, Hex was, I'd have to go look at the chart, but it's probably around that 1 penny mark. And now it's, 20 cents. And so what you can do in a year in crypto, people highly underestimate. And that's where the hopium stuff comes from, because we've experienced that in bull markets. But what can happen in 3 or 6 months in crypto, I think, is highly, oftentimes very, what do you call it? I forget the exact word that I'm looking for, but basically some people get overconfidence too much in the very, very short term, right? the way that I look at crypto and what you're doing in it, everything that you're doing today, any day of the year, you're doing for next year, right? In terms of the next calendar year, you're not trying to get, you know, massive returns and a parabolic move for Bitcoin to go to 150K by, you know, 2 months from now, right? You're looking at that for like the chance of, you know, 9 months to a year. So that's, I think, the sober way of looking at the charts.
I just want to take a moment here for congratulating us for dubbing this year, 2021, the year of crypto fun. We called it. We call it. And I also said that Ethereum would be altcoin of the year. I think it lived up to that title.
Yeah, I would say it's of the top 10 coins or top 30, you know, Ethereum's definitely, you know, been the steady gainer.
He's a steady Eddie gainer, man. Like, it was a safe bet. If you bought Ethereum all year, like, you know, unless you bought it like when 4K came around, but me and Charlie were harping on, man. We were saying, guys, like, Ethereum, this is altcoin of the year. This is like the safest, most like retard proof bet you can get. People thought we were crazy when we said Ethereum is going to 2000. People thought we were literally crazy. Like, these guys are insane. And, you know, it's been a like, for all you guys that are like, you know, we spoil you dudes. We spoil you so much free information. And then we spoil you in the crypto mindset group. And it is all good because we are benevolent, Christ-like giving leaders. And we are giving bread and fish to the masses. But really, you guys, like, for you guys that are like getting a little greedy and shit, like, just take a moment to think about where you were financially in January and where you are now. Think about how many of you guys are disappointed when you make $100,000 only.
Yeah, there's some guys who are like, you know, man, I made like a 3x this year, you know, on my stuff, and like, man, like, I accumulated a lot of crypto. I yielded a lot of my crypto, got a lot of free money, but man, I wanted that 20x, and it's just like, really, you know, like, yeah,
it's all good, all together now in the hood.
But yeah, so going through the rest of what's happening here, the other, you know, interesting trend line I think that's important to pay attention to is this downward sloping trend line from the previous highs of the last all-time high before earlier this year, as well as the previous cycle high. You do see that Bitcoin's basically coming to a decision point on whether it does want to, you know, dip here and then recover, kind of do a fake out, which I think would not be too surprising based on what's happening, you know, with the Fed today. But you know, it's basically coming to a decision point where this downtrend and then this trend here basically are starting to squeeze Bitcoin. So by, you know, December 3rd, which is currently the middle of the 60-day cycle, that's when Bitcoin has to make a decision, right? And so I do think with what's happening with
sorry, I had the dates covered. When was that?
By January 3rd.
Oh, you said December 3rd. Okay. By January.
Oh, did I say December 3rd? Okay.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Today's the 15th. I'll double check. Just want to make sure it wasn't my fault.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, January 3rd, right?
Yep, January 3rd. Yep. Right. So coming into that kind of constriction here, it is basically going to make a decision. And I would say, you know, get some downside, because like when you usually get a flush out like this, we can pull out and see how that looks compared to the Corona crash. But when you get a flush out like this, especially of leverage, now the only thing that's really trading and moving the price action here in crypto is spot, meaning just plain old Bitcoin, right? And then when you get the supply shock of Bitcoin coming off the exchanges, that holds up the price pretty damn well. So I do think within the next week here, we might see a little bit of a flush out, a little bit of price action down here. I think we do stay above 42,000. If we don't, then obviously things are going to get a little bit more difficult for Bitcoin. But if we do stay above that $42,000 mark, you know, somewhere around, let's say 44,000, it usually happens something like this after a flush out and then a nice slow recovery here. Not anything crazy going into the new year. It'll be easier from January 3rd if that recovery does happen above $52,000 or $53,000. It'll make it easier for Bitcoin to just kind of like crab sideways here in the 50K range. And then that'll set up, we'll have another low here then coming into February. So depending on where the price goes, like if we were to actually just take the previous lows to highs, the areas where Bitcoin would likely get resistance is probably you know, up here at 54K and 57, 58K. So those areas it could stay below, and then it could come back down into the low 50s, high 40s, something like that into February. And then from there, I think we have a pretty good run for it for Bitcoin too. So yeah, that's basically what we're looking at here just in the short term. But then if we kind of, go back and take a look at that Corona crash real quick, what you saw here during that liquidity event where you basically flushed a lot of stuff out of the market. This, it had a nice steady eddy recovery going into the halving, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised here if we got that flush out event. Right now we've had 1 week of green last week. This week, we have some indecision, and then from there we start recovering. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. But again, I also wouldn't be surprised, if Bitcoin tried to come down and test the low 40Ks here within the very, very short term, meaning within the next few days. So it's a very good opportunity to buy the dip, in my opinion.
Yeah, and again, there is pairing with the news that is like, I mean, how many times have we had Evergrande Fund now?
Exactly. Yeah, and the variants and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just it just seems like the story of the sovereign individual seems to be coming slowly but painfully true for those in charge. They're fighting tooth and nail.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I said they're fighting tooth and nail to keep what little power they have. But I mean, if you just look, have you seen what's going on with Austria?
Yeah, I've heard a bit about what's going on there. I haven't looked at it too much though.
Their chancellor, they're on their third chancellor of the year.
Of the year? God damn.
Yeah, this is like the first guy stepped down, the second guy came in, and then the Austrians kept revolting about everything going on with the jab, and then now the third guy has popped in, and he's like, "We're willing to have a dialogue with the unvaccinated." And we're like, "Okay, well, here's a dialogue. Take this rotten tomato." And, like those old Disneys, like they throwing tomatoes on the at the protesters and stuff. So I'm just seeing cracks in the system everywhere. I mean, you see what's happening in Japan. Fumio Kishida, who I predicted would win the prime minister seat in Japan, strictly based upon him saying one thing and one thing only. And he says, "I'm going to print money. All I want to do is print money." They're trying to give 100,000 Japanese yen to kids, like kids 20 and younger, or 19 and younger. Yeah, that's part of the stimulus there. Because, dude, this one thing I've thought about this, because great that you have the Fed up here. I was thinking about this today. I was thinking and I was talking to Josh from ELIF program too, right? And we were talking about how this whole monetary system, there's two options. There's only two routes we can go: keep printing or pull the plug, pull the rug, and let everything go to shit.
Which you're not going to do.
And right. And I said, Josh, because he was a little worried that they might do it. I was like, Josh, you're giving these people in charge far too much credit. I was like, think about this. What would normies do? If you are a dirty, stinking normie,
we need a bracelet for that.
what would normies do, right? WWND. What would normies do? If I was a dirty, stinking normie and I had two options: do the right thing, do the hard thing, do the hard economical reset, or just keep printing money and keep on living in my ivory tower as a politician, as a banker, whatever, and just kick this can down the road until my time in office is up and the next moron can deal with it. What are you going to choose? Obviously, you're going to choose the fucking easy route. And the thing is this too: this money printing is not going to stop anytime soon. And this excess money is inevitably going to flow into cryptocurrency, whether you like it or not. As anti-fiat as you are, as anti-government as you are, or pro-government or pro-taxation like we are here on this channel, you have to ask yourself, is this a logical conclusion that no, they're not gonna friggin' they're not gonna, like, the money's not gonna flow into crypto. It's inevitable, dude. It is like Thanos. It is inevitable. And I think that's what we're gonna have. Yeah, the voice of my ambition. We're gonna bring up something. He sent me something today about Spell. He says double down on their lies. That's what they do. No integrity, no accountability.
Since 71,
dude. Normie's going to norm. At the end of the day, bet on a normie to do a normie thing, which is the easy route. Go ahead, buddy. You had the article up. The Fed up
right. I got you. Yeah. Basically adding on to what you're saying right there. Right. So here's the funny, narrative that basically is being spun with what's happening with the Fed here. Right. So just basically with what's happening with today's meeting. All right. So they're talking here, right? The Fed is expected to speed up the end of bond buying, and single interest rate hikes are coming in 2022. More, a lot of people didn't think they would try to raise interest rates until 2024. They may be bluffing here, right? And say, hey, we're only going to raise interest rates a little bit, not like significantly. But essentially what this is, right, is they're like, since 2019 in October, once they started doing these bond buybacks, which is basically the QE, which they called repo purchases, right, back in the end of 2019. Oh, don't worry, we're not doing QE again, right? We're not doing what we did in 2008 and 2009. This is different, right? And then by the time the Corona crash came around, oh yeah, we're doing QE because we need it, right? And so if you look at the Federal Reserve, like a stinking normie, right? WWND, exactly. Yeah. And you look at them and you say, okay, basically they just injected a crazy amount of money into the system the last 2 years, right? The inflation rate that we have right now is the highest that it's ever been in the entire lifetime of the majority of people watching this channel, right? Since I think 1982, which is absolutely insane. And a lot of that, is just the result of money printing, and they don't, I think they don't want to do it if they didn't have to, but like you said, it's inevitable. They have to do it in order to survive, because what they're trying to do here with basically saying that they're going to finish the bond backs buying, right? And they're saying they're going to finish QE, right? Is like, okay, they're still going to be doing it, right? There's still going to be more money in the system. I think from 2020, we had about $2 trillion floating around in the system. Now we have like 4.45 trillion or something like that in terms of money that's been printed over that time. It's like double the amount of money that we had printed before then that we printed in the last 2 years. And so that's why inflation's happening. But they don't want to get, Powell here doesn't want to get stuck with the label of you can't control inflation. So what they're going to try to do to quote unquote slow inflation down is they're going to do this, right? They're going to not print as much money. They're going to constrict the money supply a little bit, increase interest rates, which this is when I think people are a little scared of. If they do increase interest rates a bit, it does for what they call risk on assets, or assets like Bitcoin, or assets like stocks. Those assets people get a little bit more scared of in the short term to buy them. But at the end of the day, by doing this, what they're doing essentially is, let's say you're a person who's been injected with a ton of, like, I don't know what drug you want to use, but like heroin or something, right? Which is essentially what they've done with injecting all the money
vaccine.
Sure.
17th booster. Go.
But injecting a ton of money into the system basically makes the system overzealous. So we got good pumps in Bitcoin. We got good pumps in the stock market. Everybody's making money after March of 2020. Everybody's happy. Great. Right. But then what's happening with inflation is prices of the things of your goods are getting higher. The money that you're getting paid at your work is no longer good enough for how you want to live and stuff like this. And so by constricting that and pumping less money into the market, or saying that they're going to stop pumping as much money into the market, it's like constricting your blood flow to some extent. And you could have they would have a heart attack, like you're saying, like you said before we started talking about this article, is if they do that, they will create their own demise in a huge crash. And the normies don't want that. They don't want that. They want to kick the can down the road, like you said. So they're going to fake doing this, not necessarily fake doing it. They are going to do it. And short-term wise, the markets are going to get a little bit spooked. But long-term wise, what this also does do is it does basically increase some jobs for the market in 2022. So as people, are more employed, they're going to be like, hey, I want to raise now. Right. And when they say they want to raise because inflation's already hit the highest it's done in the last 40 years, I want to make as much more money so that I, can have that same standard of living. Then, once they start raising people's wages, then basically your goods and services start going up in price again. Inflation comes back anyway, and they have to turn on the QE button again in order to, make sure that the money still flows. Otherwise, like you said, they'll have that heart attack, and the whole thing will just, it won't be a pretty ending. So right now in the short term, you're going to hear a lot about this stuff, and like it's bad for Bitcoin. But long term, I think it just forces people to save more. And when Bitcoin's cheap, they look at what market has made the most money, this year, right? What other market, like if we go back like a year ago, right, goes up this much over a calendar year, right? From, let's say, that area on December 15th last year of 19,000 up to our, oh my God, we're so poor lows of $47,000 per Bitcoin, right? 146% over that calendar year. That's great. And if we go all the way to the peak of what we had at 69,000, 260% in a year. There's no other market in the world that does this right now. And so more people are going to still look to Bitcoin because they have to, right? There's going to be, there's still going to be a lot of money in the system, and they're going to have to spend it somewhere. They're going to have to either spend it somewhere, which they don't want to do if their prices, or if their salaries don't increase, or they have to save it. And the flight to safety is real because there's not a lot of assets which will hold your value over a long period of time, like Bitcoin will. So Bitcoin is, despite its volatility, the best long-term savings account for people. And I think, the smart money and the smart retail notice that. So unfortunately, though, for the majority of the normies, right, when they see Bitcoin's price increase, they notice stuff like Shiba Inu first, and they go over to that. So in terms of the general market, if we want to get like a real parabolic run in Bitcoin, we do need to get stuff like that going for the retail, normies to come into the market, which they haven't come into the market as much as they did back in like 2017 yet. And we still have had a pretty good run here in crypto.
Well, let's go to Ethereum.
There we go. So Ethereum, if Bitcoin holds above, let's say $44,000, Ethereum might pull back here to like not very much from where it's at now. I would say pull back to like 3650, something like that, and then recover from there if Bitcoin does. Obviously, like I said, if Bitcoin does decide to break well below that $42,000 mark, then Ethereum, if we're looking at the daily chart, would come down to its 200-day moving average, which is about at 3,300. If we look at it on the weekly chart for Ethereum, you can see that if it did lose its 20-week moving average, which it's sitting right on top of right now, right, its next major support area in terms of the macro is down at 2,800. So if Bitcoin did go down to, let's say, 33,000 or 37,000, Ethereum would probably go down to like 3,000 or 2,800. So that's the downside risk, if Bitcoin and Ethereum just, puke up right now. But it all depends on what Bitcoin does. Ethereum was holding up better than Bitcoin just because of how much inflation on Ethereum has gone away since August. So it held up better than Bitcoin at the the $4,000 mark here for quite a while. But yeah, it's lost its 100-day moving average. So it really needs Bitcoin to recover in order for Ethereum to recover is basically the story here. And if Bitcoin does go below, if we go onto the weekly chart, if Bitcoin does go below that $42,000 mark and come down and start pressing into the high 30s, right? Not only is Ethereum going to, go down significantly, but then the altcoins go down more, right? And then Bitcoin dominance will increase during that time. And so that would be the negative case scenario. So that's why I've been saying to people, buy the dip, but ladder into the dip, right? You don't have to buy it all at one price. If you bought during this first part of the dip here on Bitcoin, great. If you get another chance lower, great. Always make sure that you have that extra dry powder on the side, and that you have the chance to buy the dip more. But don't be so fearful in this market that you sell your entire position, you run away from this market. This market is very volatile, and so it's not for the faint of heart. But as long as you have a strategy, and as long as you have ideas of if this, then that. So if this happens, then that happens. What will I do? And you have to know that now so that you can prepare for that scenario, instead of waiting until it happens, because when it happens, it's like, going into a war zone, being unprepared, and you're just like not sure what to do. You're going to get shot, right? Or you're going to freeze up and not know what to do. So if we do get those downside risks, which, they're possible right now, very, very, very possible, then just be prepared and have some extra cash on the side to be able to buy the dip even further. And I would say right now, right, there's only very few altcoins that are going to be positive to get into, because you want to stick with the main coins. That anything that you're getting into during a dip is something that you have to hold with conviction.
Right. So end of year prediction for Bitcoin, we're thinking 58K, probably a miracle, probably gonna crab mode.
Well, it depends on which time you're looking at. So if you're looking at by end of January, I'd say that's
no, end
possible.
of year, end of this year.
Today's looking at end of year.
Today's shows end of year. So by end of year, Bitcoin's probably gonna crab to the side, miracle to hit 58K.
Correct.
Ethereum, what do you think, Charlie? What's your end of year prediction here for Ethereum?
So if I was going to give like an exact number on Bitcoin, I think probably about 55K would be reasonable at the very, very end of the year. Let's say on New Year's. If that were to happen, then on Ethereum, basically it'd be about probably around 4,300 to 500, somewhere in there. Because with Bitcoin coming up above 50K, that will basically make the alts and Ethereum run harder, because Ethereum really doesn't take that much to pump Ethereum, just because actually Ethereum supply shock is a lot more significant than even Bitcoin's right now. So yeah, getting Ethereum back up to that 4,400, 4,500 mark, right, that's a big caveat. If Bitcoin's at 55,000, I would not be surprised if that's where the prices are at on December 31st at midnight Pacific Standard Time. Or if we want to be, how accurate do we want to be on that? But yeah, that's my expectation.
I'm a little bit more on the bearish side. I think end of year Bitcoin will probably be, I would say probably around current prices, 47, 48, 49. We'll see.
Kind of crab it in the middle of that until it has to make a decision in the early part of the next year.
Yeah, and I think the greed is going to be palpable in January. I think we're going to see some. Now, here's the thing: because we're going to do these two. We'll do Hex and we'll do Spell. Then the show's going to be over. But I'm so optimistic for the 55K Bitcoin scenario, because that will tie into Spell, which we'll talk about last. Spell, I think, is, in my opinion, from what I've been checking and doing my research on, and checking with my Voice My Ambition, my buddy, famous Twitch streamer Japan D Jones, my personal research, and looking at the charts and just having my experience, I think Spell is a coin that is relatively a safe investment to make a 10x. I would not be surprised to see a 10-cent Spell token.
Not at all.
Yep. In 2022. This
within
is
the calendar year.
Within the calendar year of 2022, absolutely. So a 10x is a 10x. So if you put in 100 grand, boom, guess what? You're gonna get friggin' a millo, right? But let's do Spell last. Let's do Hex.
Okay.
And then we'll do Spell last, because I have some stuff to build on my proposal there with a Spell.
Sure. Yeah, and just for people to understand what the 10x would be, right? It'd be over 10 to 12 cents from the current prices, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah, in terms of Hex, basically we have this long-term pattern here, right? Which is up and to the right, which is nice. Hex right now is basically, there's a couple factors that we're dealing with Hex right now. One factor is that it did have a severe downtrend, right, from a severe uptrend. So, when you go up in terms of this wave 2 over the course of December from 2020 into September of this year, so over a 9-month period, right, Hex did go up about 15,000%. And then, so when you do go back from the highs to the current lows that we've had on Hex, 80%, I'll take it. Not too shabby.
No, not at all.
And so that's what Hex does over time. It does have these pullbacks of 50 to 80% quite frequently, and we were even talking about that in Q3 when we were doing around these prices here around 6 to 8 cents. Right, people were getting into the sacrifice phase for Pulse. We were saying, hey, it can go up to 30 to 50 cents. And to 60 cents would be a stretch in it. I think it peaked around 52 cents. And then it will have like a 50 to 80% crash. And that's pretty much exactly what has happened here. So in the very, very short term on Hex, right, it came back down to its fib support level that it did have during the Pulse sacrifice phase. And I would say if Hex is going to get rejected here at this 10-week moving average, if it does get rejected here and comes back down, it could test this area, basically the same line, one more time going into January. But there's a couple factors that are making this, I would say, not the major scenario. It is very possible that basically the wave 4 is finished with Hex, and then we have a nice pump, meaning we'd have a pump back up to this 27 to maybe 40 cent mark, get a little bit of a pullback again, and then really start taking off, I would say, from probably around March or April of 2022. So I don't expect new all-time highs on Hex going into the new year. But the thing that's happening with Hex right now is two factors. One, you have a lot of stakes coming undone from people who've been holding Hex since it was down, in the early days, basically. And so those people are getting Hex coming out between October through January, February. And so we did see that last year where we had a down move here going into the end of the year, had a bit of a up move, and then kind of crabbed into February, March, and then it took off again, right? And the reason why is because during that middle part of the year from, let's say, April through September, right? That's generally when a lot of stakes are not coming undone. So you get a supply shock on Hex. A lot of stuff is staked out, and then price increases, right? And so it's I would expect that to play out very similarly in 2022. The other thing that's happening with Hex right now is the Pulse swap sacrifice phase. So we did see the last sacrifice phase for Hex have extreme volatility. People were basically burning their Hex for the promise of the new coin Pulse once that new blockchain comes out. And we had a big increase in Hex's price, a big whipsaw here, and then sideways action before then an increase. And so I would expect during the Pulse swap sacrifice, it's basically taking any of these people who've been in Hex long term, who are getting stakes undone. It's incentivizing them to sacrifice their coins right now. And so that I don't think that'll be a huge pump in the price because, like I said, there's still a lot of stakes coming out, but at least it'll prevent like massive dump below this current trend line that it's held pretty well here since getting that in May. So
I'll say this. I know our buddy Richard has his hands on the knobs behind the scenes there.
Yeah, he's the one that came out with the Pulse swap sacrifice phase, and he knows that there's a lot of liquidity coming out during that time. So, hey, sacrifice more of your coins to make sure that A, Hex stays up, and then B, you get to be on the ground floor of a new blockchain. So, win-win.
Well, in addition to that, it's a very simple tactic, but when the whole market dumps, Hex pumps, and when the whole market pumps, Hex usually dumps.
Yeah.
And so I think that looking at this situation now, sacrifice is up and ready to go again. And then the market's dumping. Hex has been slowly pumping. I'm seeing the retards come out of their caves. I think we're gonna see. I don't think this is the end of Hex's pump right now.
No, not at all.
I think end of year, I would not be shocked if Hex were to hit 30 cents, 35 cents.
Yeah, my target for Hex for the end of year would be between 25 to 35 cents as well. So it'd be very nice.
So there we go. So we have Bitcoin. Charlie's thinking 55K. I'm thinking 48K. Ethereum, Charlie is thinking, depending if Bitcoin hits 55, then 40, basically 4,300, give or take.
Yep.
I think Ethereum end of year is going to be 4K. Hex, I think, is going to be I think Hex can hit 35 cents by end of year. Charlie thinks 25 to 35 cents is his range.
Yep. And if I have to give a good number, it's probably going to be around this 20-week moving average, which is 27 cents. So I'll go with 27 cents for December 31st at midnight Pacific Standard Time.
Final answer. It's punch game. All right, let's do the last one. Let's do some spell. So this is something I've been looking at. Charlie, you want to give it more of a technical analysis before I give my fundamentals of it?
Yeah, definitely. So basically what we got here with spell token, right, is we did have a very good run up since August of 2021. I don't think this is all of its data, right?
I think it came out in June, mid-June, pretty sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is just what the data that we got from CoinMarketCap. But yeah, it started out at 60%. Well, not even. Yeah, it was like 3 zeros at a 6. So basically cheap as fuck.
Yeah. 4 zeros. 4 zeros.
Yeah, I mean on this one in terms of the data that we have from here, but probably back in June it was probably you're right.
I could pull up go ahead. I'll pull the price in the meantime.
Yep. And so, anyways, it's pumped crazily, right? It got up here to about I think the all-time high right now on this is about 3.5.
Yeah, you're right. 3 zeros and a 6, and it got down to 3 zeros and a 3.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty wild.
Nice.
Start off at 0.00029.
So 3 zeros and a 29.
Yeah, so like a fraction of a penny.
Right. So if I were to go over its run, basically its first run up, right, that's about 11,000% increase since it came out.
From it's almost up there with Hex
peak. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what happens. I think if you do look at Danielle and also the people behind what's happening with Spell and what's happening across all these few of these ecosystems, they know how to make pumpamentals. They know how to make things run, and so yeah, that's what they're doing. But anyways, then we had its first break of this major trend coming down here below the 20-day moving average, right? Mainly in a downtrend, and then it recovered here pretty sharply, actually. I think it was during these couple of days here. What was that, last week? It was one of the biggest gainers during those 2 days in crypto, and that was when and you talked about this on the last Tokyo Crypto Show, was it got listed on Huobi as well as Coinbase during those days. And then of course after we get those listings, we generally do get we get pumps into those, and then we get dumps after those, and the rest of the market was down as well over the last week. So that's not surprising that it's come back here, but it's starting to find a base level because here was there's one issue with its price going below this section here. Is there was in this parabolic run up right in September, there was basically no area for it to catch. So it was just, okay, what price is basically, are the whales going to make the floor? That was around here at about 80% of a penny. I think it got as low as 70% of a penny. And then now we're starting to create a floor here. So you got, it got resistance here back at this area, and it got support just in the middle of nowhere here. So I do expect it has a low, higher low. If Bitcoin dumps, it might come down here, but I think this is its absolute low during this pullback. And then it might waffle here a bit before recovering. And then the next area that it gets some resistance is back at that like a 2-cent area. So with all these predictions, you kind of have to from my perspective, you have to, in order to make a determination on where you think price is going to go next, you have to determine what's happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's like, if this, then that. So if Bitcoin is at $55,000 and Ethereum is between 4,300 and 4,500 by the end on December 31st, then where would that put Spell is kind of the question here. So if we do look from the high to the low and kind of look at a projection here, I would say its stiffest resistance will be here at about 2.8 cents. So once it breaks above there, it's back in a very nice uptrend. So that area might be hard for it to recover. But I do think it at least gets up towards, I think it breaks up above 1.7 pennies. So I think it has a good shot of probably, if you just take the 0.618 area, which would be roughly around 2.4 cents, I'd say probably, 2 cents to 2.4 cents on December 31st, and then having a nice run going into January would pretty much be my expectation on where Spell will be on December 31st at midnight Pacific Standard Time.
Define nice run until February. What do you mean by
that? So once it breaks above, so let's say Bitcoin goes back up to that, mid to high 50Ks in late January, then it dumps down into February. Maybe Spell breaks past this 2.9 cent area, gets back in to new all-time highs, comes back down in February, and then if it does make a run, it's going to make its major run, which I think is going to be the case with most altcoins and most of the crypto market from February, which would be, the next fib levels, the next 3 fib levels to the upside are 5 cents, 7.8 cents, and 10 cents, or just about 10 cents, almost 11 cents. So those 3 areas, I think, by April are very, very possible. So
if Bitcoin does hit 55K and miraculously hits 58K, right? I think we're going to see 3 cents Spell by the end of the year, because it's going to be coupled with this, which I'm going to share right now. So the proposal to burn 5.25 billion hex tokens has been approved. Thank you to our buddy Jacob, Voice My Ambition, who provided this to me earlier today. AIP number 2, burn proposal of the unallocated Spell per week. TLDR, we're proposing to burn 5.25 billion Spell tokens on January 3rd, 2022. The burn tokens will be coming from a reduction in weekly emissions of Spell used to incentivize liquidity. And the proposal is here. And you can see the votes here. There's 386 members who voted. These are the Spell, giga whales. 278 million Spell token. So 10 million Spell token is about 150,000. So just do the math at home. 10 million Spells, 150 grand. Or excuse me, it was 150. Now it's like 115 grand, give or take. But basically, 10 million Spell is about $100,000. Let's make it simple. This guy has 28 times that. So this dude has 2.8 million in Spell. So these are the Spell giga whales, and you can just see the votes here. In the middle says yes, burn, and 386 unanimous sweeping vote. Burn that shit. So you can see these are all 386 votes saying yes, burn, yes, burn, yes, burn, yes, burn, yes, burn. So
the bags.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh, are you kidding me? Dude, I'm on this list. No, I'm not. My vote is at the bottom of the Tokyo Bay. But that there, okay, I'm gonna pull up a couple things. So
yeah, I was gonna say, for perspective, right now the circulating supply of Spell is about 77 billion tokens.
Right.
So just that's, when you see those millions of tokens being taken out of circulation, then you can do the math on how that relates to the overall circulating supply at the current moment.
So taking a look here also, right? If you look at the Spell token chart, so we'll go back 3 months. Okay. The last time they had a token burn was scheduled on November 1st. So then Spell hit its all-time high on November 3rd, right? Was it 3rd or 4th? Yeah, 3rd, right here. Now, there are some caveats there. One, this was right after the Phantom event that was happening in Abu Dhabi. And then, Spell is part of the Spooky Swap network, Phantom network, the Phantom Opera network, all that. So, it was riding some hype from the event. It was also right after Halloween, right? And in addition to that, too, around this time, Bitcoin it just had a pretty good rally up to like 66K, 2 weeks prior, give or take. And then Bitcoin had a little bit of a rally that day as well, up to 63K, which led up to, Bitcoin's all-time high on the 9th. So, the event, Bitcoin pumping, those could be 2 outside factors. However, I definitely think we're going to see some kind of spike in the price. I also think that I feel like some of these whales are starting to look at Spell. This is just hypothesis, but like I said, last night, like 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, somebody was pumping Spell in the middle of the night. Quick little 20% pump.
I like
But
that.
hey, you put in $1 million, you get out a quick 200K. I mean, that'll last you you could do that for 3 months. You can live off of 200K 3 months pretty well. Pretty well. So I'm thinking end of year. End of year, I'm thinking Spell is going to be 3 cents. And we're going to see a little bit of run up. I would be really happy to see Spell break its all-time high.
I think that'll
and,
definitely happen in January. I think that's a very good chance.
Yeah. And then I'm going to quit YouTube. No, I'll be back in the summer. But no, like I personally, I'm just looking at the fundamentals, because the one chart that I have been literally religiously checking almost every day since the mid-October has been Spell. And this is more of a fundamental analysis by me and what I think is happening with the project. Kind of the feel in the air, what's going on. There's a lot of buzz too. And dude, it's a baby coin. It's like 6 months old. It's baby coin.
This is a beautiful thing is once it does break past its all-time highs. So if you're just looking at trend analysis with Elliott Wave, it did a wave 1. What's after a wave 1 once it recovers to new all-time highs? A wave 3. So, and then you get Burns on top of that. You get a great leader in Danielle who is, helping to make these narratives for Pump. It's going to do fantastic, I think, in 2022. And so, yeah, the one thing is make sure, there's a strategy for taking profits and that you know what you're going to do with that. And
this guy must be new. Seriously, Melody, I love your work, but stop pushing Spell. Listen, buddy, you will join the rest of people who have to take a big glass of "I told you so" and gulp it on up. So you'll see.
Yeah, these guys who really know how to make tokenomics work. Yeah, 1771. There we go. The guys who really know how to make these tokenomics work, which Danielle is definitely in that boat, right? Like just these things it's not difficult to pump, right? So no matter what people think about its fundamentals, it's the same conversation we had earlier with Hex. No matter what people think about its fundamentals, whether they like the person running the project or not, it doesn't really matter. If it's designed to pump and it's in a bull market and everything's going well with Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's going to pump. So who cares? Like, let's make money. That's why we're here, right? We're profit maxis.
Yeah, like I said, it's just look, it's just common sense, right? At the beginning of the year, I talked about this too, Charlie. I said, Charlie, this stupid fucking dog coin is gonna go crazy.
Yeah, and it did.
I said this dog coin's gonna go crazy. So that being said, it's just, guys, it's just common sense. Like, you don't have to be. I mean, it is fantastic if you're a genius like Charlie in a bull market, but if you just apply some basic common sense, because if you're watching this right now, chances are you're smarter than the average normie, right? Which is not too much of an accomplishment, but it is an accomplishment, right? And you just got to think, WWND. What would normies do? Would normies buy a Halloween themed token in the month of October and then hold on to it into December for massive gains and not sell right before the all-time high comes in? Yes, they would do that. Okay. That being said, look at this now. If you're a normie, would you put your money in and think that this burn coming up is going to do something for you? And then would you hold it past the burn because you're greedy and you're emotionally driven? Yes. So I'm telling you, I personally think, and I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but when I'm right, boy, oh boy, am I right. I think that we're going to see some kind of price jump in Spell, especially right now with the market taking a dump and some shit's happening right now with Spell. 20% jump last night when everybody was sleeping. I think we're going to see something there. And then to top it off, I think that I think the burn has something to do with it, because this is
Yeah.
reminiscent for me of the BNB burns as well.
Yeah, when you have, and very much of Ethereum as well, and when you have whales defending the prices like they're doing basically in that scenario of pushing up the price, right? Whenever you have the whales defending price, things are going to pump, right?
Yep.
So why not?
Yeah, and it's a new coin, low market cap. I mean, you name it, we got it. Yeah, January. Yeah, just in our private chat, Japan D Jones just posted their Discord. They just put January 3rd is the big burn. So,
Yeah, it lines up perfectly with the midpoint of the 60-day cycle, given what's happening with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's back above 50K, then Spell can pump easily.
Right. So that being said, anytime they're just burning coins, it's good for the overall project. I think was BNB the first ones to do? They were the first mainstream coin burners, right?
Yeah, BNB was the first coin that had the coin burn enacted. But to be honest, at that point in time, BNB had very low utility because it's for discounts on the Binance exchange, right? But once Binance in the bear market started getting these projects that wanted to abandon Ethereum essentially and get listed on Binance, right?
Yeah.
It started having an ecosystem behind it. Then boom, Binance started taking off in this bull market. Yeah. And as they print more money, I mean, that's the thing, is you want to look at these tokens compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Aren't they outpacing Bitcoin and Ethereum? If they are, then great, so.
I like it. Rich Young Ruler. Hey guys, should I dump Hex or Spell? I've been listening to you guys. Don't want to miss out again. Not financial advice. Honestly, I trust more in Richard Hart's influence on his community as a centralized figure to pump Hex more than my instinct talks about Spell. Spell's more of an investor instinct kind of thing that I got going on. And I could, like I said, I could very well be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I have confidence in Richard Hart's greed.
Oh yeah.
For
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, the one thing I was said on my show yesterday for Pulse Chain, right? Think about the tax write-offs for Pulse Swap, right?
Yeah.
So for Pulse Swap, or not for Pulse Swap, for Pulse, the token for Pulse Chain, right? When you sacrifice, right, you're essentially making a political statement. There's no promise of getting your coins. Also, Richard Hart donated a lot of money during that sacrifice phase to the SENS organization. I mean, if Richard Hart's making a shit ton of money with Hex, which he is, right, and so is the rest of the community, so it's a win-win situation, then, the more that he pumps the price of Pulse Chain going into, once the mainnet comes out, the more money he is able to donate to, extending life through the SENS organization. When you make a donation to there, you get a tax write-off. You get to keep your billions or your millions or however much you have, right? So very, very smart, self preserving things. So, it helps. And it's also that, benefit is handed down to the community as well. So anybody who sacrificed Hex for Pulse back in the summer, right, you can use that as a tax write-off as well, because basically it's a donation, and the Pulse that you get when Pulse mainnet comes out is worth zero, right? It starts out at zero. And so, yeah, that whole mechanics there is very, very interesting.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Abu for future chunks. Abu American told me about John. I take his crypto advice in high regard. Yeah, and then I get my advice kind of fine-tuned and optimized by running it through Charlie. So we're out here, bro. Look, dude. Guys, let's just take a moment here to do a quick little recap on 2021. $10 million plus in profits realized in the crypto mindset course. Multiple dudes in these courses have become 7-figure earners, and multiple dudes have quit their jobs. Sorry, can you hear that?
Barely. Yeah.
Okay. It's old people die around here all the time.
In the city, man, we got the population of Japan going from 130 million to 90 million between now and 2020 or 2040. So yeah, these ambulances ain't stopping.
Hurry up, get out of the way. Get out of the way, Kobayashi. But yeah, I'm just looking at what we've done for the community and what we've been doing for the real OGs too. That's been with us before it was hip to be with Charlie. It was before it was hip to be with me. This one's really for you guys, and we are really excited to do this in 2022 again. Charlie's only getting better. I'm only getting better. Miguel's only getting better. For you guys that are coming out to San Diego to meet us on Saturday at the Hot Dude Con event meetup, it's going to be awesome. It was so great to like have a wonderful 2021. If the people who listened to us, who listened to our advice and followed what we said, watched our shows religiously, watched from front to end, didn't cherry pick information, because when you cherry pick information and you get bad results, and like, what happened? Like you didn't follow, and you didn't follow the instructions. It's like you don't like sit down to bake some brownies. You're like, okay, it says add 2 eggs, some oil, and milk, but I'm just gonna use the oil and milk, and yeah, that'll be all right. No, you didn't follow the recipe. You didn't, if you don't follow the recipe, you're not gonna get the brownies.
Correct.
And
you're gonna get some janky shit,
but
it is what it is.
It is. Listen, like we are the internet's premier education source. There is no better crypto education course on the planet than the Crypto Mindset course. And we don't give a fuck about clout, about popularity, thumbnails, all that stuff. Like we put effort in. Don't get us wrong. We work on.
You have to. I mean, but you don't pander to the algo too much.
No, and the thing is, at the end of the day, we only care about one thing, which is educating you guys, right? We want to give you the crypto mindset. And so when you have this crypto mindset, this is a new emerging world. This is a new emerging technology. This is a new emerging thing with really unlimited power. I mean, blah, 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 respect the governments, whatever. But at the same time, the governments can't stop a bunch of people in the Middle East from killing each other. And we have the most advanced, military in the world. We can't stop that. The government can't stop piracy. The government can't stop drugs. The government can't stop COVID. I mean, they have a legacy of failure. And when you have something so elite and so, like, seriously, some of the most pristine technology on the planet, when you're talking about blockchain, cryptocurrency, and do this at home. For you guys watching at home, go and honestly start a conversation with somebody about cryptocurrency and just listen to how dumb they are, and then go home and be like, I should buy more coins.
even go and ask an economist. Like, this is the crazy part. Go and ask an economist about cryptocurrency and still
a real economist, not Aaron Clary.
Okay. We should have him on the show again. That was fun. I think we had him like it was around like May of 2020 or something like that. But yeah, it'd be a fun conversation to see, what the difference is between the crypto markets then and now. But anyways,
ask a real economist.
Quote unquote real economist. I forgot what that guy's name is. Who's employed by like the New York Times, but it's a weasel looking guy. But I can't remember his name for the life of me. But anyways, those guys, they're supposed to be, absolute professionals in saying where things are going. And they still don't understand crypto, which means we're still early and there's still a ton of opportunity here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Big Sky Trawler says, ask a senator too, right? There's probably only 5 of them, which will be able to tell you anything about it.
You know what I was thinking today? I was bridging something on Phantom today, and I was literally at home thinking, I was like, I don't think there's a single member in Congress who can understand the concept of bridging.
Yeah, you tried it. They probably were like, you use it to walk across from something to something else. Like,
KG $10 super chat says, I just saw your video pop up. YouTube keeps unsubbing you. Even my membership stops. I hate YouTube. Thank you so much, KG. Yeah, dude, my channel's under constant attack. They're trying to suppress us. They're trying to suppress me. They're trying to suppress Charlie. And really, they're not really trying to suppress us. They're trying to suppress you. They want us to give up. They want us to get disheartened. They want us to stop, but they don't want to blatantly delete us because we have like, we're not really breaking the rules, but we're not like, hey guys, be transgender and take 1 million boosters and wear makeup even if you're a dude. We'd be like the most popular fucking YouTubers on the planet if we were saying that shit.
Well, it's like ask Kevin with his purple hair.
Yeah, exactly. But we're talking about like, hey, maybe own your own currency so the government doesn't make you a slave because they want you to be a slave. Can't have that. Gotta put them in a shadow ban. So it's all good. It's no worries. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we're gonna keep on keeping on. And they can't stop us. They can't stop us. They can't suppress us. It's because they can't suppress us because people like you at home, you want this information. Me and Charlie would be nothing without you guys, right? We'd just be two dudes on the internet. But because of the Moon Gang, because of Hot Dude Army, and because of your guys' thirst for knowledge, and of course money, right, which is healthy.
Yeah, I think it's something that people spend usually about at least 60 to 70% of their day, 5 days a week trying to get. So yeah, you want to try to maximize that. I'm pretty sure.
So that being said, we're gonna be out. Thanks for watching us today, guys. Don't forget Hot Dude Con. If you want to come to Dallas, come book your ticket. Go to hotdudecon.com, book your ticket, come meet me in the squad. January 10th, Crypto Mindset course is going live. Go to cryptomindsetcourse.com, get on the waiting list for that. And then, yeah, until then, we'll see you guys next time. Oh, we got a real quick shout out. Sir, Mr. Jason, $2. Thank you, Emily, for everything you've done. 8. Thank you to